Hi, I'm Jackie Eicher, and this is a message for children of all ages. Hello to all of you out there. Let's start in the way we have been, which is a 4-part check-in. Hands on your head, and recognize what thoughts you are bringing. This one is hard for me because I have so many thoughts usually swirling around. And then, hands on our hearts to recognize what feelings come with those thoughts. Both how your body feels, but also how you feel inside, your feelings. And hands on our bellies to recognize what needs we might have. Today I'm feeling sleepy, so I feel like I need some energy and maybe some coffee. And then our hands out to acknowledge what requests we might have. I might take a sip of my coffee. And this is also a time you can request something from God. I'm still practicing on how quickly we should move through that. So I'm always interested in whether that was too slow or too quick for you. I have a story today from Esther, about Esther. It's actually the story of a request that Esther made. And this is from Esther chapter 7, 1 through 6, verses 1 through 6. And I have a couple of resources I'm using, so bear with me. I'm going to first read the story from Desmond Tutu's Children of God book. Mary Lou showed me about this, and I like it a lot. God uses a young woman to save his people. Esther saves her people. This is a picture. Esther and the king. After many years, the land of Israel was conquered, and the Jewish people were taken to live in Persia. One of the Jewish girls was named Esther, and as she grew up, the king of Persia chose her to be his wife. But no one knew, not even the king, that she was Jewish, a descendant of the ancient Hebrews. So these two are married, so she's the queen. Haman, one of the king's advisors, did not like the Jews and told the king they should be killed, all of them. Queen Esther's cousin Mordecai came to the palace to tell her about Haman's plan. "Please beg the king not to kill our people," he pleaded. Esther paced back and forth, trembling with fear. "Anyone who goes to the king without being called will be killed." Esther paced back and forth. "God has chosen you, Esther. You are our only hope," Mordecai said, and left. Esther prayed for courage. Then she went to the king and begged, "Please save me and my people." "Who wants to harm you?" "Wicked Haman," she said, pointing at him. The king was furious and ordered Haman to be killed in the same way Haman had prepared to kill the Jews. Esther's courage to confront the king and Esther's courage to confront the king saved the Jews, who were filled with great joy and celebrated with a feast to thank God for his protection. Dear God, help me to protect my community. This story stands out to me, and it always has, because it's one of the very few stories about in the Bible, not in history, but the very few women who are mentioned as the main character in the story. So the story of Queen Esther is one of a very strong and courageous woman who used her power. She was the queen. She used her power to save a lot of people by making a request. And what I love about the story today is how well it fits with our check-in. When we touch our head to think our thought, acknowledge our thoughts, our hearts to acknowledge our feelings, and our bellies to acknowledge our needs. Mordecai, Esther's cousin, made a petition, and that is, he came to Esther and said, a request. Please talk to the king, your husband, and save our people. But Esther knew that even going to the king, even though she was queen, even going to the king when he hadn't asked for her to come could get her killed. And so she was checking in with her own feelings. She said, I'm scared. I don't want to die. And still, she gathered her courage and she went to talk to the king and took the chance to make a petition to the king. A request. A petition is a request to make a change. So I'm curious, have you spoken up when you have seen something unkind or unfair happening? And how did you feel? Maybe there's a time you saw something unkind or unjust or unfair and you didn't say something. I think that's happened for me a lot because I feel the risk of speaking up. But there have been times when I have spoken up, and it's scary for me. I feel trembling and nervous, just like Queen Esther was described in this story. Queen Esther petitioned the king to change the law, which would kill her people. A petition is a request to change something, like I said, and people are often making requests to change things that are in a law, either in just our town or our state or our country. And a petition is something in that way, something that's written out and you can get signatures that show how many people support the petition. And then that petition has more strength and more power the more people that are signed up. I wonder today, and in person on Sunday, we'll play a game about this. But I wonder, what if you could write a petition to change something in our town, maybe even in your family? Maybe there's a usual thing that happens that you think should be changed. I wonder if you could write it down and get signatures from all the people around you. That could look like, if you're at home with your family, you could request or petition for more time playing a game together as a family. Or you could petition for your favorite food on a certain night of the week and get signatures to show support for that. That might be fun. When I was growing up, my sisters and I could watch an hour of TV a day. So there weren't computers at the time, so that was an hour of screen time a day. And I could have, if I took this idea at the time, I could have made a petition and got signatures from my sisters to request more screen time. Because an hour a day, that was plenty, I think. I'm not complaining, but that's an example. That's not a good example of helping my community. So I want to challenge you to think of something you could petition for the community, either your neighborhood or Corvallis or your school. All right. In person, we'll play a game called Xerxes Says, and you could play this at home. Xerxes is the name of the king, Queen Esther's husband, in Persia. And if you've played the game Simon Says, you know how to play Xerxes Says. So I'll be Xerxes in this case, and I will say, Xerxes says, jump as high as you can 20 times. And I'm going to trust that somebody's going to do that at home. You can pause if you need time. Xerxes says, do 50 jumping jacks. And you might need to pause. That's a lot. What if I said next, Xerxes says, run around the outside of your house 50 times now? You might want to make a petition to change the rules a bit, because if you did all of those things, you would be very tired. Again, petition is what Esther petitioned the king with her words out loud. You can petition by writing down your request and gathering signatures. I challenge you to think of something that you see that is unfair or unjust in your neighborhood or your school or your town, and create a petition. And I'm happy to help you with that if you have any questions, or if you just want to tell me about your petition. I would love that. You can make signs for your petition. That would be wonderful. And we are going to say goodbye for now, but I hope that I'll be seeing some of you in person. I look forward to talking with you about this story. So to check in before we say goodbye, I put my hands on my heart to help center me. And by that I mean it brings me back to the purpose of being here, and reminding myself I am breathing in God's love. I am a beloved child of God. And I hope you said that for yourself. Goodbye, friends. I will see you Sunday in person, some of you.